Hey guys, welcome back to another Sorted George Garage with me, Julian. Old Blue, 72 New Yorker, needs a bit of bodywork doing. Banging. Right guys, as with the 72 Newport that we done last year, the 72 New Yorker needs some patchwork on the lower rear quarters. On the lower rear driver's side, obviously we've got this great big hole here that you can see that needs sorting out. It's basically come away. It's pretty bad all the way along the bottom. There's a couple of holes all the way through, you can see. I mean, it's not too bad. The actual worst piece really is the lower trunk extension. That's actually gone all the way along the bottom, so that's actually what's obviously caused the problem here. On the lower rear, on the passenger side, as you can see, it's as crusty as anything. You can hear all the bits and bobs in there. Underneath here isn't actually too bad, believe it or not. This sort of section here isn't too bad, and then we've got another patch here. The trunk extension is actually perfect. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Really pleased about that. That makes my job a little bit easier, thankfully. So, right, seeing as we're on the passenger side, let's start with that. Right, trim's off. That's first job. That came off actually nice and easy. Obviously I got me trim pliers. The way that they are held on, basically, I don't know if you can see, it's just like these two sort of squeeze together. And they basically just push fit through the hole. That is it. Right, that's got the light out as well. Now we can see what we're dealing with. I mean, this is full of crap at the moment. My vacuum is going to have a field day. But, yeah, you can see where it's rotten to. That's wafer thin. You love it. Got to be done. So I've got to try and get this trim piece off here now, which actually tucks behind the rear bumper. Don't want to take that off if I can help it. I'm just going to have to get in at an angle somehow and get these three screws out. There's one, two. Is there another? Yeah, there's another one down there. Three. So you got three screws holding that trim piece on. Right, we're getting there with this trim. It's an absolute nightmare because if you sort of come across like so, you can't get straight on it, unfortunately. So you've got to come in at a bit of an angle. What I ended up doing was sort of coming across at the angle like so. Now if I put that like that, then you can see what kind of an angle that you're at trying to get these out, you know. See what I mean? So I put that in like that. I hit the end of the screwdriver with a hammer just to sort of shock it loose, etc, etc. Got that one going, and we managed to get that one going. But this one down the bottom here, although he's out now, thankfully, as you can see, the only way I could get to this one, believe it or not, was actually with a flathead screwdriver. And I just literally had to go a quarter of a turn at a time. We got there in the end. As you can see, she's now away, and you can sort of see the screwdriver bit in there, if you can see that. So I'm just going to loosen those two off, take that trim piece out, and then we'll be able to see what's going on this edge. As you can see, it's sort of rusted up to there, but then this one, this last little bit here is actually quite solid. A bit daft, but never mind. It is what it is. Right, just having a good old scrape about in here, as you do. I thought I'd bring you in. Looks like we have got a little bit of holy moly going on the other side, where all this lot basically has been sat and gathered moisture, but never mind, it is what it is, can't be helped. So I'm just trying to get out as much as of the rubbish as possible so that we can see where we are as regards what's good metal, what's bad metal, blah blah yada yada. Let me keep scraping and I'll show you the end result. Right, we've had a bit of a scrape, as you do. I've got to clean it out. Yeah, there's that little hole that I went through. She's actually pretty solid in there, so I'm pretty pleased about that. When you come up to this one here, you can see how solid it is. I mean, look, that is really good. It's just that little bit there that's got a bit of surface on it, unfortunately. It is what it is, can't be helped. So, right, what I've done is marked out 2 patches. This one's 24 by 5 inches, and then this one here is 10 by 4 inches, obviously like for the smaller part. I can't do anything else now because it's like 20 past 10 at night and I got neighbours, unfortunately, but never mind. Well, not unfortunately, I've got neighbours, but unfortunately I can't do it because I'm going to wake people up. So I've got to wait till the morning, unfortunately. But at least we got that lot marked out, so that's good. Yeah, I'll see you in the morning. Banging.
The next day.
Good morning. Let's make some noise. No, I don't mean like that. I mean like this. Sorted, George. Right, that's that lot done and prepped. Do yourself a favour. If you're going to do something like that, get yourself a nice lightweight grinder. That kills my arm. Okay, let's see how we get on with bending these up, shall we? As you do. Much of that.
Three days later.
Right, we've had a good old hack, as you do. Not very happy with the inside of this. Is actually a bit worse down the bottom here than what I thought. As you can see, there you go, you can see through it. We got a few holes up to about here. So I'm just going to cut out this bit here. This is all right, and so is that. That's good. So that's just a mark with a screwdriver. Yeah, so it's just this bit, so I'm going to replace this inner piece here. There's the angle for the inner wheel well to trunk extension. Yeah, so I should cut that out, put that in, and then I should put the outside on. Sorted, George. Here we go. Right, now we got rid of that in the panel here. I'm quite surprised, actually. This is quite strong. It's just, if I can get this thing to focus. Not the wheel, that's it in there. There you go. That edge there. That's pretty good. I'm just going to give this a tidy up, get rid of that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a new bottom lip here for the inner panel. But I'm going to keep this one and use it as the outer panel. So I just need to sort of tidy this up. Put a bit of rust inhibitor in there. That's pretty good. I'm pleased with that. But as usual, with a lot of old rust, you know, there's more than what you think. Still, better to get it out. That's the main thing. Right, here we go. Bang it. Right, I've had a bend and a twist in the shape of this one. I've trimmed it down even more. Basically, that's going to go in there. And what I've got, if I can take this out, there you go. I've got a bit of a lip going on there as well. So that will now tuck down onto this lip here. That'll be good. Put some Cure Rust inhibitor all the way in there, so that's nice. Let me put the old flash on, might be able to see. There you go. So we got some of that here, still drying, a little bit blue. Also done a bit of a spillage on there, so that's good. So at least I know my concrete floor won't rust. So yeah, right, we're going to sort of prime this up and tidy it up and then put that one in. Sorted, George. Here we go. Banging. Right, a couple of days later, what happened was, I went to put it in and she started to mess me about. I really don't know how old that one is, haven't a clue. It's had a new regulator, it's had a new wheel thing as well. I bought it second hand, I've had it a couple of years, but now what she's doing is curling up the wire right where the wire feeds through. So I'm getting a few wheel spins, and then she starts to curl up on me, and I'm getting great big coils and coils and coils. So yeah, I think it's about time we called that a day. I did have a go at some of the welding on that inner panel. And that's when she started to mess me about. So I've gone and bought myself a new welder, as you do, little Clark 135 TE. I'm just sort of messing about with the settings, etc. This is how far I've got now. Some of the welds, let me put my torch on, some of the welds were with the old welder, some of them with the new, as you can probably see the difference. We got some nice clean ones there. I wonder what welder that was. Yeah, so hang on, turn me flash off. So yeah, we're going to be using the new one now. Sorted, George. I did also play back to myself the last clip that I showed you, because I wasn't too happy about this edge along here. It looked a bit wavy and bumpy and whatever else, so I flattened that out. And like I say, I was sort of, you know, going to tack it and then do welding, and that's when it started to mess me about. So that's going in the bin because it's duff, it's had it. Let's crack on with the new one. Sorted, George. Bang it. Right, this is where we're up to at the moment. What I've done, sort of gone over a couple of the welds, obviously cleaned them up a bit. Tacked it from behind. I mean, you see the sort of penetration that I've got here. Done a tack down the bottom here. Also, I've got a nice penetrating one there. I've done a couple of plug welds underneath. I'm happy with that. I mean, it's inside, it's not going to be seen. I'm just going to put a shed load of stone chip. That's the one, stone chip. I'm going to put a load of stone chip on that. That will seal it. Yeah, and then I'll crack on with the outside. Sorted, George. Banging. Okay, where we are now, obviously this is the panel I made up earlier. I've marked up some lines here, there, and what I've done is obviously that I've screwed it to my line. On the back of this, I'll show you in a second, I've drawn the shape of the wheel arch, so I need to cut that off so that I can then easily get those marks there, where my thumb is, so that I can go from one end to the other, zip that off, and then that should sit along this part here like we done with the Newport. Right, sorted, George. Let's take that off and have a go. There's the line I was talking about. I need to cut along there as close to that end of the black line as possible, and then I can get a measurement where it tucks underneath from up this end as well as that end. In fact, I've actually moved it around there, look, you can see. So I'm going to go from there to wherever it is. I want a nice straight line, as you do. Yeah, so I'll cut that off first. Right, so George, here we go. Right, we're screwed back on. That's not too bad at all. That's got a nice nice shape to all the way down. I really want to keep the original shape if I can. So yeah, what I've got to do now obviously is mark up probably, well, it's there, isn't it? You can see it on camera where it tucks under. So I've got to mark it there, and then chop that bottom little bit off, and then we should be good to go to tack it in place. Morning, here we go. Right, what I've done, I've given this a good prime inside, and then I've given it a nice hefty coat of stone chip. I've gone like right the way down inside there, obviously, and inside there as well. I've also done primed and stone chipped the inside of both pieces. So what I should do now is obviously grind off the paint, screw it into place, and then tack it on. Jobbed. Here we go. Banging. Right, well, there's the first pass. That's pretty good. I'm pleased with that. That's all nice and flush everywhere, so that's good. Obviously, I've got to join everything up now, so a little bit of a dip on that side there, but she's not too bad. I'm pleased with that. I'm pleased with the welder too. That's given me some nice welds now, like, you know, as you do. Right, now all I've got to do is just fill it all in. Right, well, I've filled a few more holes in up here and along here. Done a few more down here. I mean, that ain't going anywhere. That's in, that's solid. So I'm happy with that. What I should do when I do the filling, etc., I'm going to take all the paint off up along here. and then I shall lose the join, etc. behind the trim, so that'll be good. All I've got to do now, obviously, is crack on with that side.
2 hours later.
And as if by magic, there it is done. That's in there, nice and strong. That's both sides done now. A bit of body filler, and that'll be sorted. Bit of P40, the old fiberglass filler around the holes, as it were, and then a bit of P38. And well, if it don't look good, you can give me my P45, can't you? Sorted, George. Banging. And there you go with a bit of filler. Sorted, George. I've had a couple of goes. You can see like the different there, like, you know, I think it was 3 goes I had, so you can see the different colours of mixture. But yeah, she ain't come out too bad. It was a little bit, it went a bit flat there. I didn't quite get the curve on that one, unfortunately, but I managed to get the shape in there anyway, so I'm really pleased about that. It's not too bad. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not a body man. I never have been. So what I'm going to do now is put a bit of filler primer over that, and then I need to get some blue mixed up just for this bottom part, as you do. Yeah, sorted, George. Right, yeah, let's crack on. And there's a bit of the old filler primer. Jobbed. That's pretty good. That'll show up anything and everything if there's anything there, so I'm pleased with that. And there she is in the grey primer. Sorted, George. It's still a little bit on the wet side. I think what I'm going to do, the colour that I had for the calipers was just that little bit darker than this B1 blue. So I think what I'll do, it's only a fraction darker, I think what I might do is put a little coat of that blue over the grey primer, so that when I get some blue mixed up, it doesn't have to, if you like, work so hard to try and cover over the grey primer. I'll see how that goes. Anyway, sorted, George. Banging. Here we go.
The following Thursday.
Right, well, I've put a bit of blue on. The contrast between the two colours is a lot worse on camera than what it is in real life. You have to trust me on that one. I've given it a nice rub down with an 800. That's lovely and smooth. Even all these bits here, they are lush. Fantastic. Sorted, George. So, like I say, all I've got to do now is get some paint mixed up. That's lovely. Well pleased with that. Come down the side. Look at that. I'm happy. I mean, considering I ain't a body man, I'm well happy with that one. And on the other side, what I've done is I've taken off the trim, this one as well, because if you remember up there was a great big dent, so I've sort of had a go at taking out the dent. It's not too bad, it'll pass for me. So all we got to do is just go on with this bit here, the little bit here around this area. If I come this way, put me in there so I can see, there you go. What I want to try and do, once I've sort of cut this bit out, I want to try and get up from underneath to see if I can do anything around this sort of area here. I mean, it looks bad in the light, obviously, but when you're here looking at it, it's actually not as bad as what it looks on camera. There you go, now we got that piece on. You can see it's not too bad. I've actually straightened out the trim as well a little bit. I know the sort of like the black plastic bit here is a little bit on the crushed side, but not a lot. You know, if I sort of show it to you that way, you can see it, but it don't look too bad at all, actually. I'm quite happy with that, I must admit. So it don't look too bad now. You know, I'm happy. Sorted, George. It's better than having that great big sort of, you know, ding in it that was there. So that's all right. End of the day, I mean, look, there's a battle scar just there as well. Like, you know what I mean? She's 50 years old. She's going to have some battle scars. What do you expect, you know? Right, sorted, George. Let's crack on with that bit and along there. Here we go. Banging. Okay, update. Just made a couple of panels here for the outside. I've got to trim that off, like the line for the wheel arch. I've sort of scored it on the back side, so I shall cut that out. Yeah, that one, and I've made this panel as well. Obviously, like, I've tried to match them up so that I can get the bottom, because this one I'm going to take out to there because that's all right. And then, but I want to take out, I know it's only sort of like along this part, but obviously rust tends to be up here, not just down here, but also the inner panel is sort of rotted to there. So if I can take out this bit, then I've got room up here to see what I'm doing. And obviously you've got the big round patch here. So there you go, that's what we've made so far. Time to go in, and I'll probably be out here tomorrow. So sorted, George. There you go. That don't look too bad now, does it? You see it down there now, but ain't that bad, is it? Sorted, George. Right, back tomorrow. Banging.
24 hours later.
Right, next day, here we go. Obviously I've cut that out. This is what I was on about. There's not a lot of a section that's rusted here, as it were, but obviously it goes up a bit. So, but having this out of the way, I can now see what I'm doing, and I can get to it and get rid of all of that lot. This here has broke across here, rusted, but I've just taped it up. But I want to keep that line, I want to keep it in place, obviously, so I've got the line. This up here is quite good, I'm pleased about that. So I only need to take out a little bit there, so I can go up to that line across here and basically along. I'll probably do it in 2 sections. Again, it's on the inside, it doesn't matter, I'm not worried about that, it doesn't show or anything like that. So, but like I say, I wanted to keep this in place so that I know where I've got to come down to, as it were, or put the bend, you know what I mean. Yeah, sorted. So probably what I'll do is just make a piece like that, and then I'll just make this little piece here rather than do it all in one. It'd be a lot of messing about. So sorted, George. Right, let's get cutting and making that little section. Banging. Here we go. Right, sorted, George. There you go. That's the inside panels done. I've done one long one there, and then obviously I've done another one for this. So I've done it in 2 sections. I shall weld up that gap when the time comes. But we've got that meeting there, lovely. So I'll put my hand in the way, and then you can see it better. And then obviously the underneath can sort of fold out a bit then to meet the outer panel. This is in the way at the moment. I need to I wanted to keep that while I was sort of measuring up everything, etc. But that can come off now. So yeah, all I've got to do now is obviously clean up the edges. I can weld the inside panels in. Then I can prime it all and put under seal and that lot inside, the old stone chip, whatever. So that's all sealed. I should also do the outside, or this side of the panel, as it were, before I weld it in, so it's done. And then I can put on the outer panels. Right, sorted, George. Banging. Okay, next morning, what we've done, obviously I've put a load of tacks in, that's holding that in place. I shall obviously fill up the gaps with that one. Because this corner here was impeding my movement for this end of the panel, what I've done, I sort of hooked that bit off, kept that screw in, and I managed to knock this down, which has now managed to close up that gap a heck of a lot better. The corner was still the edge, as it were, the bend was still meat, and I can tack that in. Sorted, George. Right, let's crack on with it. Here we go. Banging. And there it is done, sorted George. That took about half-hour to do. So yeah, she's in there. Obviously what you saw was me sort of spot, coming back. That's the best way, that's so you don't get too much heat into it. Right, what I've got to do now, obviously, is put the outside panels on and carry on with it. What I should do, I'm just going to give this a quick sort of grind off, as it were, just to tidy it up. And because I know I've got like a little sharp one here somewhere. Where is it? There, just there. Nice sharp one. So I should give these a quick grind off just to tidy it up. Give it a prime and then give it a stone chip so that that's all done inside. Then, because I've done the, let me just show you around there. There you go. Look, you can see it's all done with the primer and stone chip on the outside. I've done the outer panels as well, like on the inside of the outer panels, so they're done. And then obviously, you know, once she's done, then I can fill it and do what I've got to do. And then basically, once she's welded on, what I can then do is pinch these together, like this one and the outer panel. I shall drill on the outer panel a couple of holes, and then what I can do is just sort of scratch off the paint that will be on here, so that I get a good good clean surface, so that I can do a bit of plug welding along the bottom here. Yeah, sorted, George. Right, let's crack on. Here we go. Okay, that's giving that a grind down, as you do, just to make sure that them edges are sort of nice and smooth and not sharp or anything like that, just in case anybody puts their hand down the side of the panels, then they ain't going to get their hands caught on any sharp bits of metal. Let's tidy that up nicely. I've just flattened out this bit as well, just to, because obviously this bit needs to join against the outer panel, like underneath, so I want to make that as smooth as possible. Right, let's give this lot a prime and a stone chip, and we can crack on with the outer panels. Sorted, George. Banging. Oh, look at that. Somebody's just done that for me. Oh, that was handy, Harry, wasn't it? Sorted. Look at that. They've even got the factory runs in there as well. Oh, that's handy. Brilliant. That saves me a job. All I've got to do now is just put some stone chip on it. Sorted, George. That was handy, wasn't it? Right. Let's put some stone chip on it. Banging. And there's the stone chip done. Jobbed. I made sure I got plenty around the welds, so that it can sort of like fall down in between. So, right, sorted, George. Banging. And I done that one. Right, let's get on with these outer panels. Here we go. Right, that's where we're up to at the moment. Not too happy about this little bit here. It sort of ended up being pushed in a little bit, but I don't matter. The filler will take that up. I'm not too worried about that. That's all nice. That's good. What I've done, I've started to put the second panel on now, and I've started here because I wanted to get this line here matched up lovely, which I've done. I'm really pleased about that, so that's good. Now what we've got to do is obviously cut along there, and then I can get this piece sat in better, because obviously that's sticking out at the moment because I haven't done it. But yeah, this is all good. This metal is thicker than this. This is like 18 gauge. I think this is 20. This is like 0.9 millimeters thick. It's as thick as that I can get over here at the moment. So yeah, what I'd like to do is sort of start here and then melt into that one, and by leaving it on that setting there, minimum, and then number 2, it tends to give me a good weld, you know, like these here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to crack on along there. I'm going to put the phone on charge so that I got enough battery for the camera later, and then I shall grind these out and do a second pass, and I'll come back to you. Right, sorted, George. See you in a bit. Okay, I lied. I've come back to you after the first pass still. I haven't rubbed this down. I think I've sussed out what my problem is up here. I mean, look at this. I've got such a lovely join on that one. I'm well chuffed with that. Got some really good welds. I think what it was is the gap was too much here. With my grinder, I obviously sort of went in a bit more like that rather than like that around this area here. So that's obviously why I was burning a couple of holes, in which case, you know, like the gap was too much, in which case it wasn't bridging it enough. I was on too much of a strong setting for it to fill. So I've done a couple of fills along here on setting number 1 down here as well. So that's good. So I shall grind them out. But yeah, this side I managed to get a nice angle on the cut, and I got a really nice join there, so I'm well pleased with that. And like I say, this welder on number 2 minimum is giving me a lovely penetration and a join. So yeah, sorted, George. I shall grind this lot out now, and then I'll come back to you. Sorted, George. See you in a bit. Right, sorted, George. Here we go. This is second pass. I filled in a few more here. Yeah, it was definitely the gap was too much, as in I cut it wrong. My fault, but it ain't too bad. This side, this piece, wow, I am well chuffed. Look at that. Well impressed with myself. Like I say, I ain't a body man, but I'm well chuffed with that. Good little welder, well pleased with that. I've done some plug welding up underneath, so that's all right. That's the 2 panels joined underneath, that's good. Ground them out. Yeah, sorted, George. What I've got to do now is I'll put some fiberglass filler in that, the old P40, as you do, and yeah, basically start filling. Sorted, George. Oh yeah, I've got to trim up this edge as well, where you can see the outer edge is longer than the inner edge, so I should just trim that up, just so that it's done, and yeah, crack on. Sorted, George. Banging. Here we go. Right, last bit for tonight. There you go. That's the edge trimmed up, as you do. That's got that sorted, and I've just put a little bit of fiberglass filler just to sort of fill in a couple of them holes that was left. Didn't need to go along here, which is brilliant. So just that little bit there. Right, all we've got to do now is yeah, a bit of the old body filler and paint it. Right, I'll see you in a bit.
3 days later.
There you go. I've done a couple of fills, as you do. That is lovely and smooth. Obviously a high spot there and there, but that's fine because obviously I've filled around it, so that's good. This is obviously where the other patch was. That's lovely. Sorted, George. So I'm going to give it a couple of coats of the high build primer, and then normal grey primer, and then rub it down. I've got a little spot there and there to do with the fine filler paste stuff that you got. You can actually see the line here where the trim will come, so that will be just on the edge. That'll be underneath, but that will be just on the edge of the trim. So, but I'm going to do it, obviously, belt and braces, as you do. Yeah, sorted, George. There you go. That is lovely and smooth. And there you can see it from the side. So, yeah, I'm well happy with that. That's good. At least it's got rid of all the rust. That's the main thing. And, yeah, bit of primer, bit of top coat. I've had some paint mixed up. I'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah, sorted. Right, let's get on and put some primer on. Okay, there's a filler primer, jobbed. Not that you can see much in this light, but yeah, that's okay. I'm pleased with that. And what I'm going to do now is a couple of coats of grey, and then the grey should sort of show up any more imperfections for the, what do you call it, the knifing putty I got just there. Sorted George, see in a bit. Banging. Right, Sorted George, there's 3 coats of grey primer as well. Well pleased with that. That's come out really nice, I must admit. Better than what I was expecting. So, right, Sorted George, I shall leave that to dry for 24 hours as you do, and then give it a 600 wet, 800 wet and dry rub down, and then we'll put the top coat on. See you in a bit. Right, and there she is with the knifing putty used. A couple of imperfections. Let's say that one there and that one up there. Got a bit of a high spot there, but it doesn't feel too bad now. Now that I've used the old putty on it. But yeah, that ain't come out too bad. I'm really pleased with that. I tell you, really. Don't worry, it is me. I've had my hair cut. Don't worry. Yeah, that's come out really good. I'm pleased about that. That ain't too bad at all. Yeah. Considering I rubbed all that lot down by hand, I don't think that's come out too bad, to be fair. Considering I rubbed all that lot down by hand, I don't think it's come out too bad, to be fair. Yeah, takes a bit of work, but hey, you know, if you ain't got a machine, you ain't got a machine, have you? Right, paint. That's what we're going to talk about. Paint. I had some paint mixed up by a local company. Got a really good match with that, to be honest with you, if I can get it in the right light with the camera. That's a really good match. If you do it up against like door shuts, so everything's in the same sort of shadow, etc. You know, door shuts there. Really pleased with that. But the colour actually is a Fiat colour. Fiat 405A Azzurro Achille stroke Topazio. Yeah, unfortunately they couldn't find the B1 blue or the HB1 blue. This has got HB1 on the fender tag, so there's probably a couple of different shades of B1. But yeah, that is a really good match. So if you can't find the B1 or HB1, yeah, Fiat 405A Azzurro Achille Topazio. What a good match. So George, let's put it on. Here we go. Yeah, there you go. That's about 4 coats. Sorted George, that's come out really nice. I know I've got the torch on and we're not out in the daylight, but yeah, that's don't worry, we've got shadows going on here between the two, etc. So yeah, that's covered really well. Really pleased with that. Nice shape to it, and like I say, I ain't a body man, so I'm really pleased with that. And this is the other side. Done that one too. That's come out lovely, and I've also sort of filled in down the back there, down in the L's, and on the other side as well. So yeah, that's lush. Well happy with that. Sorted George. Right, gonna let this lot dry, and then I should put the trim on, and then we can have a proper look at it. Sorted George, banging. Okay, couple of days later, mission accomplished, jobbed. Got the fender skirts back on, got the trim back on, got the corner marker lights on. There you go, now you can see the paint match. I'm well happy with that. Well pleased with that. That's good. Right, let's take you around the other side. There you go. Fender skirts on. And yeah, jobbed. I'm well happy with that. I was going to take her out for a run, but it's tipping it down out there, unfortunately. But never mind, it is what it is. Can't be helped. But yeah, and well, like I say, got that dent out. Let's come down this end and show you from this end. There you go. Well happy with that. Don't look too bad at all. Sorted, George. Banging. Right, that's it for this one, guys. Thanks ever so much for watching. I do appreciate it. As I said, I'm not a body man. You know, I've only been using basic tools. I mean, the pipe that I use to bend the metal to get a curve in it, that's an old washing line. Yes, okay, I've had to buy another welder, but then obviously the other one decided to, you know, die on me, so not a lot I can do about that one. Although I'm glad I have, because I'm getting some really good welds with that now. So yeah, if I could give you any tip with welding, make sure you got a half decent welder. Excuse me. I hope this video was a help to you in some way. Nip over and check out Chris, my mate over at Swede Machine. He's got some good stuff going on over there as usual. Hit the like, share, subscribe button if you wouldn't mind. I'd really appreciate it because it will help this channel grow. And I'll see you on the next one. It's Salt with George Garage. Banging.